southeast Queensland, with roads cut, drivers stranded and some houses under threat. Forecasters are predicting at least 4 more days of rain and are warning residents to brace for major flooding, but not as severe as last year.
Heavy, relentless rain streaming in from the coast. After January 2011, it's enough to send a shiver up the spine. Dozens of roads were cut by floodwaters across the southeast. Some people just drove straight into them. In Logan Street, Beenleigh, 1.5 metres of water was over the road. A toddler and grandparents were in one of the 2 cars stranded.
They actually had trucks come through which pushed the car over to the other side of the road.
There were problems at Eagleby. John White's van stalled from wash from another car.
I moved over a bit, I got a bit too deep and I got stuck in the middle.
Drivers got in strife on Gap Creek Road, Kenmore Hills too. Flash flooding hit low-lying areas. At Toombul, cars were submerged. Cranes were used to drag them away. Building materials from Airport Link were washed away. The car owners and project operators had little warning.
That's a Jaguar. I saw the car there. It's a brand new Jag, 3 months old. And he left the window open with this weather.
Northey Street in Hurston lived up to its flood-prone reputation, especially on a king tide like today. Still, people keep crossing or playing in flooded waterways.
We were going in the creek and then a big log come up and we both hit the log, so we had to jump over to the tree.
The rain has been triggered by an upper air trough and moist northeasterly winds, and it's affecting a big area.
Anywhere between, say, southeast of Bundaberg to Goondiwindi, potential for heavy falls.
There were some incredible rain recordings, 225 millimetres near Beenleigh, 108 in 6 hours at Bracken Ridge, 81 in an hour near Caloundra. At Burpengary, houses in Cobb and Dale Streets are under threat. From the Caboolture River and a tributary, vacant lots have gone under. Residents have been sandbagging. Late today, they were told to start evacuating to the Narangba Community Centre.
Looks like probably 3 times in 2 or 3 years that the house will be underwater.
The owners of this house at Bly left their home too when their driveway started to cave in.
When the ground started moving, then I was sort of freaking out a bit, thinking, is the house going to go with it?
9,000 homes lost power. At Beams Road, Castledine, a rail track fault jammed traffic and delayed trains on the Caboolture Sunshine Coast lines for 20 minutes. There were delays at the airport too, and some flights were diverted to Brisbane from Coolangatta. 2 accidents within 20 minutes near Ettamogga Pub caused traffic gridlock on the Bruce Highway. The Weather Bureau says it could be like this until at least Sunday, 50 to 100 millimetres of rain each day. That would lead to moderate to major flooding, but nothing like last year. So far, only smaller dams are releasing water.
The catchment itself for Wivenhoe hasn't had the high levels of rainfall that's been experienced near the coastal areas.
But it's early days. Late this afternoon, Australia Day celebrations in Redcliffe, Strathpine and Bribie were cancelled. Neil Warren, 7 News.
The Gold Coast's biggest Australia Day celebrations at the Evandale Parklands have also been called off. Some of the heaviest downpours were recorded on the tourist strip. Properties were swamped and a flash flood threatened homes and businesses as it surged through the hinterland.
Eagle Heights is on top of the mountain range behind the Gold Coast. This morning it was cut in two by a torrent of water. The Coomera River was raging.
Fingers crossed, it's not going to get much worse, but I think especially shops around here, we're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Almost 140 millimetres fell across the hinterland overnight. In just 1 hour, 36 millimetres drenched Mount Tamborine. Dozens of creeks burst their banks as the river kept rising.
The fear is that it's just going to go. The next really big wet is just going to rip the whole causeway away.
Hinterland residents weren't ready for a downpour like this.
The back's flooded, the front's flooded.
Let's hope it's not a repeat of the Brisbane floods.
At Oxenford, horses became stranded in the path of the torrent. Locals are volunteering to rescue them.
Please, everyone, just move your horses up. I'm shaking thinking about what could happen. You know, I've seen the damage and I don't want to see it again.
Downstream, the water was spreading. A dark tide crept over roads at Jacobs Well. More than 15 were closed to drivers, but some risked their lives anyway.
It is frustrating, very disappointing in light of 12 months ago, the incidents we experienced with the floods.
The summer deluge is disappointing for holiday makers too.
Oh mate, this is shocking here.
We had a good week and yeah, today's a bit
Bit of a shocker.
Heavy rain and big tides forced lifeguards to close some beaches between Southport and Miami. It's not that conditions are too dangerous, there's simply not enough beach to patrol. Sand cliffs more than a metre high have formed along beaches already eroded by the Christmas king tides.
And it's not the sort of weather you'd want to venture out anyway, and for the surfers, the waves aren't that good at all.
On the Gold Coast, Amanda Abate, 7 News.
Michael Best joins us now live from Emergency Management Headquarters at Kedron. Michael, this is the first major activation for the State Disaster Coordination Centre this wet season.
It certainly is, Rod, and crews here have been very busy today, coordinating the emergency response right across the southeast. Now, Warren Bridson from Emergency Management Queensland joins me now. Warren, what sort of task have the SES volunteers faced today?
Well, they've been very busy all from the Sunshine Coast right down to the Gold Coast today, dealing with nearly 500 calls for assistance on 132 500 from the community. That's been to assist in minor cases with some leaking roofs, but the majority of calls have been to assist with sandbagging.
A very big job, but what are you expecting over the coming days, and are emergency services prepared?
Well, this weather's going to get worse tonight, and it's predicted to increase again tomorrow. So the State Emergency Services are ramping up to provide assistance to the communities as we expect those calls to increase.
Thank you very much. Warren Bridson from Emergency Management Queensland. And Rod, as always, with so many people risking their lives going through floodwaters today, the EMQ message is, if it's flooded, forget it. Rod.
Indeed. Thanks, Michael Best, live from Emergency Management Headquarters.
Well, more rain is on the way, and with the latest forecast, here's John.
Well, good evening. Now, this time last January, the city had recorded 315 millimetres for the month. So far this month, we've had about 200 mils and a lot less rain over the past 6 months. So be assured the situation is very different from last year's flood, but there's still more rain to come this week. Now, today, the rain just kept on coming in the southeast with isolated storms as well. It's affected areas from Noosa down to the northern New South Wales border. From 9 a.m, there was one total over 200 millimetres, plenty of falls over 100. 81 fell in 1 hour on the Sunshine Coast, and the city has had around 80 millimetres since it all started. So where is all this heading? Well, the slow-moving upper trough over Western Queensland will persist, so expect more rain tomorrow with some heavy falls. Conditions will ease a little bit on Thursday and Friday with showers and possible storms, but then back to more rain again Saturday, and expect more flash flooding until Sunday, when rain totals could be over 300 millimetres once this all finishes. And I'll be back a little later with the rest of tonight's weather for you.
Thank you, John. Well, the Flood Commission will hold another 6 days of hearings over the next fortnight, following claims of discrepancies in evidence given to the inquiry about the operation of Wivenhoe Dam during last year's floods. Commissioner Kate Holmes has asked Premier Anna Bligh to extend the February 24 reporting date. Any extension could affect the timing of state and local elections